Hello, weirdos, and welcome to day 2 of Showing Up Weird. I'm actually pretty excited about today's topic because I did this on purpose. I gave myself something really fun to look forward to so that I actually want to make today's video because I get to talk about Duran Duran, my one and only musical love. That's not true. I love a lot of shit. If you've met me, we can talk about some deep musical lore of a lot of different types of music, but standing above all of it, the perennial favorite is Duran Duran. This giant button I purchased on a family vacation in the 80s. This is legit vintage 80s memorabilia here. And I'm going to make a wild guess and say it was probably the family vacation we took to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because look at the name of the gift store that I purchased this at. So shout out to the Gay Dolphin Gift Cove, probably in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, or in Cocoa, Florida. Those are my two guesses. But I pulled out a couple of things to talk about Duran Duran today because I have loved them literally forever. This band has been going for 40 years and they still kick ass. And if you think they don't, then this video is not for you. They're amazing, and a lot of the music we hear today would not exist were it not for the influence and inspiration of Duran Duran. I will fight you on that. First time I saw them was as a young adult, so I pulled out some ticket stubs for today. 1993, first time I saw Duran Duran at the Sunrise Musical Theater in South Florida. And this would have been for the wedding album. I do remember I went by myself because nobody would go with me because Duran Duran was not cool at that time. I went by myself and Terrence Trent D'Arby opened up and I thought I was going to lose my shit when he played Wishing Well. So amazing. Even though the Thank You album had not come out yet, I do remember they played some of their covers from the Thank You album, including White Lines, which I still can't believe that they got away with. But God, this show was great, and I cried, even though I was mad at myself for crying because I grew up watching all of these girls in their concert videos and in their live shows and their videos on MTV. These girls would cry and freak out and get pulled out of the audience, and I thought, that's so dumb, you're gonna miss the show. And then here I am in 1993, all by myself, up in the nosebleed seats, and the first few chords of Save a Prayer come on, and waterworks. You know, I don't think I've gotten through a single Duran Duran concert without crying at some point. The second time I saw them was an even weirder situation. So this was in 1997. And this is not a concert ticket. This is a pass to Pleasure Island in what used to be downtown Disney, is now called Disney Springs. This was in 1997, so this would have been for the Medazzaland album, which was kind of universally loathed, even though I love that album. I love all their albums. Yeah, they played a free show. So all I had to do was pay to get into Pleasure Island. They played a free show, and they were like I could have reached out and touched Simon Le Bon. They were literally playing on the street, and there was a handful of us women just going, oh my God. It reminded me of those scenes in that movie, Music and Lyrics, where Hugh Grant plays an ex-80s pop star, and he goes and plays like, you know, Knott's Berry Farms, and it's just a bunch of old women who still care about the music. That's what this show felt like. But I'm so excited. I got to see them so close up and in such an intimate setting, and it was a great show. And then many years later, when they were in some very deep valleys of their career, they got back together with Andy Taylor and released the Astronaut album. But fun fact, they didn't have a record contract at the time. So I had to order this special edition direct from their website in order to get the CD, and it came in this cool little booklet. And then they toured, and my mom and I went to see them, and I'm pretty sure it was at Ruth Eckerd Hall. That was in 2005. And then I don't have ticket stubs beyond that because after that people stopped making ticket stubs, but we saw them for the Paper Gods tour which Mark Ronson produced. We saw them for Future Past. That Future Past show a couple of years ago at Amelie Arena was freaking amazing. It was the best they've ever sounded. I remember thinking to myself, I'll have what they're having. Like, whatever they're taking, they look and sound better than they had in decades. And then I, in honor of today, am wearing my special event t-shirt from the Halloween show that they played last year at Madison Square Garden. I couldn't help myself. I'm like, Mom, we're going. And we bought plane tickets and ridiculous concert tickets, and we went and saw them play a Halloween set at Madison Square Garden in New York City. And my mom had never been to New York City, so it was a fun trip for her. I took her to see where they filmed Good Morning America, and I thought she was going to lose her mind. And we got to see this amazing show, and there was no way I was not going to buy a t-shirt to commemorate the event. They, again, looked and sounded amazing. And the album that they put out of spooky Halloween covers is also amazing. So I realize as I'm telling the story of all these different albums and peaks and valleys in their career and all the different ways and places in which I have seen them, I think Duran Duran is an excellent testament to resilience and staying connected to pop culture and youth culture. I think the reason they still sound great, the reason they're still relevant after 40 frigging years, is because they stay involved in what's going on. Many of them live in Los Angeles. John Taylor has frequently done fashion lines with up-and-coming Los Angeles designers. Simon Le Bon has a radio show on Sirius XM called Whoosh, where he and his co-host are constantly exploring new music. Nick Rhodes is still heavily involved in the art world and has his finger on the pulse of what's new and innovative in art and in synthesizers. They're constantly innovating, constantly reinventing themselves, constantly staying fresh, and I love that they don't hide either. They're still willing to get out there in shiny pants and shake their 60-year-old butts. And it's so fun. They're clearly having so much fun, and I love them. I will love them to the day I die, and they're my inspiration for staying in touch with what's going on in the world. So, thank you, day 2 in the can, for Show Up Weird like Duran Duran, show up weird and stay relevant and stay in touch with what's going on in today's world. I think that's how we get through this next phase.